Hello, my name is Beck and welcome to the Unpopular Opinions book tag. I haven't actually been tagged to do this, but I feel like this tag has already made the rounds, so I'm very late in jumping on the bandwagon. Question 1 is a popular book or series that you didn't like. The obvious answer for this is The Painted Man by Peter V. Brett, but also A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I just did not like that book. I thought all of the action happened at the very end in the last I was going to say 50 pages, but I feel like it's 20. And I just thought the main character had no agency whatsoever. I did read the second book and I gave that about a 4 stars. I gave book 1 a 2 stars, but I'm not going to continue on with the series. Also, another young adult fantasy I didn't like was Snow Like Ashes by, I think her name is Sarah Rush. Question number 2 is a popular book or series that everyone seems to hate but you love. And I knew the answer to this question straight away. I love Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, even though I'm like 2 books behind because she's now finished the series. I just adored that book. I read it in, I think, 2015 when I finished writing a literary thesis for my honours at university. And so my brain was completely spent and I could not pay attention to anything. But I picked up Red Queen, I blasted through it in a couple of days and I fell in love and I thought it was awesome. Question number 3 is a love triangle where the character ended up with somebody you didn't want them to end up with. Most of the books that I read, the characters actually end up with who I want them to end up with, but in the case of The Hunger Games, and I won't spoil it obviously, but I wanted Katniss not to end up with either Peter or Gale. I wanted her to end up by herself. Question number 4 is a popular book genre that you hardly reach for, and for me that's really easy. It's historical fiction. Even though I really loved A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, I thought that book was hilarious, and I also have The Book Thief on my to-be-read pile for next year. I just generally don't reach for historical fiction. Usually I just find it a little bit boring. Question number 5 is a popular beloved character that you do not like. I don't know if I really have one. I don't know if this really counts because I've only read book 1 of the trilogy, but I was going to say the Darkling from the Grisha trilogy. I thought he was a great villain, but I've heard that he becomes a love interest and then I'm not sure what happens after that. Honestly, I just don't really care. It's not that I don't like that character, it's just I don't care. There also is a character in the Robin Hobb Elderlings series, the entirety of that series, called Fitz, and I know he's the main character. And I do love him, but he also gets on my nerves so much because he just doesn't learn his lessons and he's just a bit of an idiot and a very unreliable narrator. Question number 6 is a popular author that you can't seem to get into. And I don't know if this counts because I think I've only read 1 book by him, but it is Neil Gaiman, and I read American Gods on audiobook a couple of years ago. It was my first audiobook, and for such a dense book, I don't know if that was the best choice. That said though, I have watched a ton of Doctor Who and I remember watching Neil Gaiman's episodes, so I did like his writing then. So this answer might not be a very reliable one. Question number 7 is a popular trope that you're really tired of seeing. That would definitely be the love triangle and the miscommunication trope. I just think having a conversation undermines the whole drama and tension of the plot in the miscommunication trope. I don't really see the merits of including that. Also with the love interest trope, I don't know if it's a trope or a pattern. I just don't like my characters changing their minds all the time when it comes to love interest while the world is ending. Like, prioritize your focus, please. I also really like books that don't have a love interest in them. I think This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab did that really well. Question number 8 is a popular series that you have no interest in reading, and like I said before, probably the Grisha trilogy. I read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom this year though, and I love them, but I read Shadow and Bone, which is the first book in the Grisha trilogy, and gave it about a 3 stars. It's just not something that I would want to continue reading, but also all of Sarah J. Maas's books I stopped reading at Empire of Storms, and I also stopped reading at A Court of Mist and Fury, so they're just not books for me really. Question number 9 is, the saying goes the book is always better than the movie, but what adaptation did you like better than the actual book? I think my answer for this is probably going to be both The Hunger Games, because I loved that film adaptation series and I saw each one at a midnight release, which is awesome, but also probably The Perks of Being a Wallflower by, I think, Stephen Chbosky. I saw the film first and then I ended up reading the book and they were very, very similar. I struggled to really pick out many differences between the two. So I think it was a very reliable adaptation and that's why I liked it so much. And there you go, that brings us to the end of the tag. That seemed to go very quickly. I'm gonna tag some people even though you've probably already done it, but I tag Danny, Alex, Chammy, Kiara, and Bex. Thank you so much for watching my Unpopular Opinions book tag. I will catch you in my next video. Bye!